Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We have a trending news for you, and in no distant time, a few hours from now, NairaMarley will be leading a protest against, of course, entitled NdSARS. He has a different view to it. We'll be looking at like three different news in one, all about SARS, while the governors, by virtue of this Sanwo-Olu has related over the issue of SARS. In fact, Fayemi, Ekiti State Governor, has actually encouraged mentioned a lot about also SARS. Well, of course, the federal government has said something about SARS. The Nigerian populace has said something about SARS. And we'll also be looking at this critically. Should we truly end SARS? Do they have some benefits, or do we just end this SARS and forget about their whatever benefits they have? We'll look all this will be encapsulated in this news. But before we go into the news proper and further analysis, we would like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as you update our channel on YouTube. Well, let's start with the House. That's the senators, as Akin Alabi has filed a motion before the House of Representatives again asking for an urgent dissolution of the dreaded Police Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS. Mr. Alabi, APC Oyo, said there is enough evidence in the public domain to proscribe SARS immediately, warning that the unit has committed enough atrocities. Mr. Alabi said SARS operatives have become so lawless that even the police inspector general can no longer contain their excesses, decrying how Nigerians now harbor untold fear of the deadly corrupt unit. Policing in Nigeria continues to fall short of the modern practices where citizens should be treated with utmost respect and decorum, therefore making it very difficult for an average citizen to truly trust that the police are their friends, Mr. Alabi said. Lawmakers were notified of the motion today and would likely be considered at a plenary this week. The demand came after the widespread outcry against SARS' deadly and crooked conduct led to an emotional weekend for the country. Inspector General Mohammed Adamu responded to the outcry by announcing yet another restriction of SARS officers from the road, a decision Nigerians, including Mr. Alabi, said was superfluous and did not go far enough. Don't forget that SARS have been banned like 4 times now, and each time they are banned, somehow they find their way into the domain. But let's quickly also see what some of the governors are saying concerning this issue of SARS. Now, the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) has backed the decision by the Inspector General of Police (IGP) Mohammed Adamu to ban with immediate effect the operations of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad FSARS, that's FSARS, and a range of other technical squad of the force. The NGF chairman and governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Fayemi, in his reaction, lauded the IGP, saying the decision was received with great relief and satisfaction. Fayemi, however, expressed hope that the announcement this time would promptly be followed by action and that there would be no reversal to the unorthodox enforcement practices being complained against. He called for appropriate sanctions against law enforcement officers that had been lawless and irresponsible in the exercise of their duties against ordinary Nigerians. He said, "We also completely agree with the directive of the IGP that no personnel of the force is authorized to embark on patrols or tactical assignments in Mufti forthwith. This in view will significantly reduce the various infractions of the force that the ordinary Nigerian people have been complaining about and bring an end to the menace of SARS brutality on the people they are meant to protect. The IGP's instruction could not have come at the better time when majority of Nigerians are unhappy with this cohort of police officers who have routinely engaged in unlawful killings and torture, thereby giving the force a bad name. It is helpful to recall that SARS has been cautioned in the same manner before, only for it to go back to its old ways. Our young people should not be criminalized simply on account of how they look or their mode of dressings, or the cars they drive, the type of phone they carry, and so on. This is an assault on their fundamental human rights. We think this is a timely, critical, and clinical response by the leadership of the Nigerian police force. I most especially commend IGP Adamu for his promptness and boldness. Okay, but that's for the governors. Let's see what NairaMarley is saying concerning the protest he has proposed today, and what some officials are saying about it as well. Let's quickly go to what he's saying now. Popular Nigerian singer NairaMarley has announced that he will be leading a protest today against injustice meted out on Nigerians. This is following the outcry NSARS campaign on social media against harassment of youths by SARS operatives. NairaMarley, who had earlier declined participating in any protest over fear of going to prison, announced on his page that some SARS officials would join the protest. Given reasons, Miller said that the police officers and SARS personnel would come out to show support against their fellow colleagues and answer questions from Nigeria. Now that's the time for all Nigerians to go out there and ask questions. What is going on? Why are some SARS, some other part of their colleagues are doing this to Nigerians? It's an open opportunity. I think it's a welcome idea. But let's continue to hear what he said in his page. He said, on Tuesday, we got some SARS personnel coming out with us. These ones that claim to only come out for big operations and not the dirty works on the road. They are coming out to show support and to answer some questions. We also got some police officers and soldiers joining the protest. Now, this is different from the usual protest we know. NairaMarley therefore appealed to fans and those willing to protest not to fight with any SARS personnel. Now, that is the disclaimer. That's what he's trying to tell us. Look, they're coming out with us, but please don't go there to fight them. These ones are the good SARS. Let's continue. So don't forget, guys, just in case you see any SARS or any forces there, don't start any fight. We are allowed to ask questions, but remember, no fight, no vandalism, peaceful protest. Thanks, he added. Now, a quick one. Let's just run this critically and objectively. We are all screaming NSARS. Yes, we've seen a lot of their videos have come online. We've seen a lot of their brutality. That cannot be denied. Okay, at least to some extent, there's nothing like that video was not edited. Some of those videos are, uncensored. So we see their brutality. But also in that same force, just like every other, there's always two sides to a coin. Okay, there's also some good guys. They may not be much, maybe they are much, but it looks as if the bad names are actually corrupting, the bad ones are corrupting the general names of SARS. A lot of persons have complained there have been so much brutalities. Sometimes they even go through your phones, no privacy and all that. Understood. But there's a reason why they were created, right? Good. We all know that in Nigeria today, banditry, kidnapping has become the order of the day. Now, these guys were originally created for that purpose, to see how they can curb banditry and the rest. Now, in the Senate House, of course, the House of Rep, they started, Alabi, Mr. Alabi has started moving a motion to see how they can proscribe and end SARS totally. Now, if we do that, to a great extent, the fear of SARS for some of these guys who do a lot of kidnapping and banditry and all that, when they hear that SARS is in the building, they get scared. Also, an average Nigerian also gets scared because of the brutality. But let's look at this critically. The day we end SARS, will there be another tactical team being created? Okay, if there's none, then that means we're looking at banditry and kidnapping going haywire in a country that's already battling with these security issues. So while we're looking at this, I think we should look at the modalities, look at their the mode of operations. How do we critically, are we going to disband them? If you're disbanding them, are you creating a better one? Now the question is, how is their recruitment done? Is it SSC holders that are on the street? How much are their salaries? Okay, let's also take note that the people you are giving guns to protect the people, if their salaries are mega, what do you think they will get vexed when they see young men doing well and their salaries are mega? It's just common sense. You don't give a lion goat to look after. He will eat the goats. It's common sense. It's not rocket science. Now, if you're going to give them such roles, pay them well. And if you're going to recruit those who have been found in character and in learning, those who can do investigation without being biased by looks. To a great extent, is that you take them through training, or they should be minimum requirement should be BSc or HND as the case may be, so that you are able to curb the criminality or the animalistic tendencies in them. I feel that much as we don't want their brutality, but we still need some sort of security to combat kidnapping in the country. So while we are disbanding SARS, is there another alternative to them that is already reformed to curb such, or else we are robbing Peter to pay Paulo? But that's my personal opinion, just may differ. Let's meet in the comment section. We'll give you update, of course, as soon as NairaMarley hits the street on the protest. Of course, we also do not know if he will be hitting the street or not, because obviously this is Nigeria. Anything can happen within 2 or 3 hours of the protest. But we'll keep you informed.